Hey, how you doing? Where you walking to? You good? What's your name? I'm Nate. Kennedy? Why you walking so fast? Down.
I'm playing a video on my phone. Sorry, yo. Shit, I'm finna check on the screen. If you say stream with a K, if you say screen, then I fuck with you. Episode 12, we live. Can I hear me?
You say stream with a K.
I can hear me. I can hear myself. I said, can I get a like, a repost, a do it? I'm talking about, can I get a like, a repost, a do it? What's y'all favorite song right now? Like in the stream of the ether of the multiverse. Rooks is finna come back soon. We about to get into talk, so you know what I'm saying? We about to play some music, but you in the chat, if you in this motherfucker right now, tell me. We live, goddammit. Tell me what your favorite song is. And he's back, so it don't matter anymore. But if you want to put your favorite song in the chat, feel free.
What tell me.
All right. Nobody here anymore.
Are we good?
Yeah, we got.
Yay! All right.
We are.
Happy Saturday, everyone.
Yeah, preach.
Yeah. I went for water, but I ended up with flavored water and Gatorade. So that's what we're dealing with today.
Okay.
I gotta have a flavored beverage. That's my new thing. When I heard this on TikTok because I learned a lot of things from TikTok, like a lot of people from this generation, and I heard that if you drink fizzy beverages like flavored water and sparkling water and all that stuff in replacement of alcohol and or nicotine products like vaping or cigarettes, it helps to get rid of that oral fixation aspect of it, which is a huge aspect of drinking and smoking. But it like
100%.
Yeah, so
why
the texture of the water is similar, and it creates a stimulation because at a simple level the brain is looking for stimulation, and that's where it goes for the, I forget what they call them, but like high intensity beverages, meaning like high in flavor. So it's not like tap water. So like lemonade or beer, or I mean, alcohol is the most intense beverage I can even think of because how many other beverages do you drink and then go bleh?
Yeah, true.
So yeah, just those kinds of things. So having sparkling water, it gives you almost the same level. There you go, almost the same level of stimulation that a beer would, or like the cigarette to your mouth would, but it doesn't hurt as much. I mean, it's not good for your teeth, but that's.
But in terms of like stimulating your brain and getting rid of the need to put something up to your mouth, or the need, or like the desire for a taste of something.
Both. So that's kind of why it's, because it gets the texture, so it's a mouth feel, if you will, but then it's also a like the dopamine hit that you get from the mouth feel. So it's 2 in 1. Because for me, like when I'm at a party or I'm at a club, I just want to have something in my hands. That's why I picked up vaping, and that's why I drink at clubs, even if I tell myself I don't want to. But I didn't think about this until getting a little bit older and more mature. Which those two things happen separately, not simultaneously. You can go to the bar and order soda water.
You can do that,
and no one will know the difference. And it's not, because that's the other thing too, is if you're at a party and everyone's drinking and you're sitting around with bottled water, it's kind of a mood killer. I'm not gonna lie.
You're not lying. I mean, you know what's cool though? I don't know. I have a friend who inspired me. Because I remember, like, he was 19 at the time I was 17. Like, we would go to a lot of parties together. And he didn't drink or smoke.
What?
He used to a lot in life.
Oh, okay.
Like in high school and stuff. But like when he got out, he didn't drink or smoke. And I remember like being like astounded by this guy. I was like, how are you just out here with all these people?
How you raw dogging life like this?
Like, what's going on? He's like, but it was funny. He was like, bro, I don't have any vices but women. I was like, that. But I understood that later in life. But at the time, I was like, bro, what are you doing? Because I used to not. he would be the type to like jump from girl to girl every party we go to, and I'd be more chilling. 'Cause I would be high or I'd be drunk, so I'm not really like I have something else entertaining me.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. His whole game is just the female.
Yeah, bro. So now I'm proud of both of us because we're both at a point where neither is more important than what really matters. But we were young, then you learn. But
Sometimes.
that was my first inspiration to be like, okay, I can live this life and just not do this shit. And I've had all types of conversations since then. Primarily, take a shot. What are you doing? No, I'm good.
Mm-mm.
You're such a mood killer. You can get drunk. I'll act drunk.
Yeah, there you go. I'll get drunk off your energy. There you go.
Yeah. But it's just like I think people I have found that overall people respect me more because of it, and I respect myself more because I can I'm out of control. There's something I know we've talked about. You're not really in control ever, but I'd
I
like
know
to
you were
be
saying, though.
as far in control as I possibly can be of what I can control as a human.
Well, so alcohol is the only one thing, aside from like way, way harder drugs, but alcohol is the only thing that I consume, and then the next day I'm like, why do I feel like I have to apologize for something? I've never smoked so much that I've had to wake up the next morning and wonder what happened or where my car is or why someone's mad at me or why I said that thing or why I texted that person. I mean, alcohol is weird. Like the person you are when you're drunk or even under the influence of a few beverages, it's weird. It's very weird. You're like a different person.
I feel like smoking will make you smoking will make you think about it more.
Oh yeah.
Alcohol, think about it less. And I think that's like the main thing because when you think about it more, like the main reason I stopped smoking is because I'm not a productive smoker. I know productive smokers. They'll roll up and start doing their shit. Right? That's you.
That's me.
Right. I'm just not that guy. And I'm not sure where it comes from in a person, but I've just learned that when I get high, like it takes so much effort for me to do shit.
Yep.
I'll think about. I've had great ideas, faded, but like to do them is just not.
Execution is difficult.
So I've learned that I don't need to get high to have wonderful ideas, so I'm not going to get high. That being said, I completely understand the point you're making. Another thing about this friend of mine, he's lived a very interesting life, and he told me about a time, multiple times actually, where he's been doing coke with various females, and he said one time he was in a bathroom at a party, and they're both like just going ham, right?
Yeah.
And I forget, he was like, bro, like 5 lines in, I just went, I love you. And she
that's that A1 sauce, if you know what I'm saying. That's that good shit.
And the next morning they both apologized to each other when they got up. They were like, I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what that was.
That was so fun. And then I remember like telling that to another friend of mine and him being like, yeah, bro, like you haven't done that.
I've had a bunch of business ideas, which is a really funny stereotype when people do coke. And it's so funny because I legitimately have had a night where I stayed up till like 2 a.m. just writing out all these business ideas and did none of them. It's really funny to see how certain drugs impact certain people, but then it's even funnier to see the common stereotypes and how deep they actually go because we're all human at the end of the day and our genetics only have so much to do with it. But yeah.
You know what? The one about like getting faded and just like saying bullshit stuff, I realized that it comes from like, so when as a sober human being, we can think beyond the moment.
Hmm.
You can think and I've also learned more recently than this. It's not healthy to think too many moments into the future or to dwell on too many moments ago.
Right.
But
Mm-hmm.
like if you're thinking too far into the future, like what am I going to do after I do this thing I'm still trying to do?
I mean, then you're gonna do that thing terribly, A, and then B, you're gonna start to get anxiety because that's where anxiety comes from, is living in the
Exactly.
future.
And I found myself doing that so much. I'm like, okay, so I know this is what I want to do. And I know like what the next level probably looks like. So how do I have to do this thing that I haven't done yet to get to that level? And then it's just the fucking wormhole of nastiness. And I still haven't even fully maxed out the thing I'm supposed to do yet.
Mm.
So how am I supposed to know what that, you know what I mean? Anyway, but to that point, thinking one step, as I'll call it, into the future to know, like, all right, I want to get here. I have to do this to get there. Don't think about what you're going to do after you get there, as far as like, okay, once I get there, I have to do something there to get there. You won't know what you have to do there until you get there.
Mm.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? You can think about where you want to be and then what you got to do to get there. Don't think beyond that. You can use past things to think about how to do that thing best right now. It's my thought process on that.
Makes
That being
sense.
said, when you're faded, those don't matter. What matters is the fact that this cup is red, right here. And I've noticed that, like, in the same way, when you're like off coke, you'll have the wildest business ideas. When you're faded, the shit that's right in front of you, or that you never think about, that doesn't matter but comes up in the moment, is the most perfect, funniest, smartest, wildest, creepiest, scariest, best thing you've ever heard of or thought of or seen. For example, I've been in this room, high as hell, trying to come up with a reason that is an Izzy.
That's a grapefruit, dude.
Didn't know that. Didn't care.
You just wanted to know, why is that an Izzy?
Why is that an Izzy?
Bro. Yeah, I feel like you'd have a hard time on acid, because that's where it all starts when you're tripping on acid. Then it just goes even deeper, and you're like, why is glass glass?
Christ. I mean, so acid and shroom trips are not the same?
Mm-mm.
Mm.
No, I mean, fundamentally, in terms of like you're seeing visuals, they're not the same at all. So this is how I would describe it. So shrooms is like a gentle walk in the park. It's very pastel-y. It's very watercolory. It's very like smooth.
Let me stop you real quick. I
Yeah.
haven't ever had a visual. I've taken a good amount. I've never had a visual trip. I've only ever had mental trips.
Interesting. Okay. So yeah, that all is dependent on the makeup of whatever you take, but when you start to see the mental of shrooms is also mild in terms of the effects versus like acid,
Okay.
but the acid is like sharper, like I was saying before. Shrooms is more smooth, but acid's sharper, and it's like a brisk jog on like an early morning, like an early, like crisp early morning. So it's very like, I don't want to
Mm.
say intense, but it's very like almost visceral to a point, but it feels almost like synthetic to a point. If that
I mean, it is.
It is, exactly. That's
Mm.
the difference in the two. You can
Mm.
feel it. You can almost feel it. Like one feels like a chemical versus one feels like uh,
Interesting.
a fungus. So I feel that that's a
Feel
good.
very planty off the shrooms. Like, ironically, I felt it was weird, but I felt like more one with myself and God, but also very minuscule, but very much okay with it.
Mm,
Kind of like a plant.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, like I literally took a plant to feel like a plant.
So
But
so take that idea, and then
mhm,
that's the kind of ideas that you have on shrooms. You're like, I like everything. People are nice, and or whatever. like nice
Yeah.
bubbly thought. Like it's comforting, it's soft, it's very soft. That's the one way I put it. Acid. Last time, well, not last time, but one of the times I was tripping, I was sitting in my apartment, and I was like, dude, we're just people living in boxes stacked on top of each other. What the hell? And then I had this crazy, like, oh man, it was such a wormhole of just, why are we like this as humans? And
Yeah, I think I'm good on that. I'm good.
yeah, no, it's not something that I like personally, but I know people that want that. And here's the other thing too. If you take hallucinogens or psychedelics in general to escape, you're in for a bad time. Such a bad time, because all it's going to do is take that thing you're trying to run from and put it in your face and magnify it and turn it to 11. And like, that's the one thing I think that I missed and figured out pretty quickly when I was experimenting, because I don't do this stuff anymore. But I found out very quickly that the thing I was running from became the center focus every time. I was
100%. Is the thing too is like okay, I was gonna say this when you said the box thing, like the fact that I took shrooms in a cabin was like funny as hell to me, because I was literally sitting, I was laying, just say enjoying myself, right? Looking up like this. I'm like, I'll just go from wooden box to wooden box.
Yep.
But it was like a good thought though, because I was like, it was like, I can do whatever I want because life is just wooden boxes.
Exactly. You're free.
I'm a whole human. Like, this shit is just wood. You know?
I can just go and build this anywhere. This exists everywhere.
Exactly.
I'm not stuck to this one wooden box. I got wooden boxes all over.
And it was wonderful because I was getting hit at the same time. So I was like, I could do this anywhere.
That is so awesome. See, that's what it's all about, though. I fully enjoy the togetherness of those experiences, because you're together with the people, you're together with the nature, you're together with life. And it's a really pleasurable experience if you take the time to give yourself set and setting, which is people in place. So yeah, great times.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think we started this convo about marriage, right?
Yes. And we left off where we were talking about how the difference between starting a marriage and or a relationship from a physical aspect versus more of a personality or friendship based relationship. And then there was something I was going to say about it, but I don't remember it. It'll have to come back to me.
How do you feel about, or rather, let's put it like this. Do you feel like since you've been in a relationship with your wife, not married, but just in a relationship, you have become more open to loving things?
Yes.
Not necessarily like cheating, but like
No.
but loving things, like being more willing to give yourself to things that you get a notion are worthwhile.
I know exactly what you're saying. So yes,
You know?
giving myself to a person wholeheartedly, no backdoor, because I believe that's what marriage is getting rid of the back door. Living like that. Shit, I just lost my train of thought. What'd you ask?
Do you find it easier living like that?
Oh, yeah. So because I've given myself wholly given myself to something, a person, and trusted that person and put my all into something and seen dividends, I'm much more confident in my ability to make choices. And you bring up a good point. And I was going to say this earlier, so I'm glad you brought this up. In my life, this is specific to me. In my life, I find that the biggest choices are almost always the easiest ones to make. So I'll give you examples. Getting married, easy choice. Didn't have to think about it that long. Probably gave it 20 minutes of thought. And that sounds dangerous, but I just knew because we were best friends before. So I was like, this is easy. I got this. My car, pretty much every car I've ever bought except for the first one, because your first one, you're kind of like, what do I do? After that, all the cars I've bought, pretty easy decision. Didn't have to think too long. I want to say it took me an average of 15 minutes to decide this is the car I want. Again, because I had the confidence in my ability to choose what I needed, and I also go into things with a little bit of preparation. So
Okay, all right.
I'm not going to go in and just be like, oh, I know what I need.
I was gonna say to buy like 15 minutes of total surfing the web doesn't make sense, but like, okay.
To make the decision. So
Yeah.
I'm not dwelling on it as I would, for example, a non-important decision, which is the opposite. So most of the time when the outcome doesn't matter, it makes it so much more difficult for me to make that choice because the outcome doesn't matter. Whereas some people look at it in the opposite way of, oh, well, the outcome doesn't matter, so I can pick anything and be okay with it. For me, I'm on the opposite end of, well, if I pick this and this, it doesn't matter, so why even make a choice? Whatever, like, it doesn't matter to me. So car, wife, relationships, I'm also more loving in those relationships, and I'm more open to love in terms of communicating that love, being more loving. I'll say I love you to people that I meet on the internet, and that sounds weird saying it like that, but I mean, such as
I know what you mean.
yeah, I know exactly. You know what I'm saying. So meeting friends online that I share camaraderie with or share an experience with, those that I'm open to giving love there. So yeah, I think based on your question, I think that the marriage decision and being married has and also being in that relationship and moving to a marriage has allowed me to be confident in my choices on big decisions. But the little ones, man, like what color t-shirt do I need to buy? Oh, that's a rough one. Like if it comes in two colors and I like both colors, like white and black, that's a tough one for me. Most would say just buy both, but I'm not that kind of person that buys multiple colors of the same item. I'm just weird. So I do the Steve Jobs thing. So for me, when I work Monday through Friday, I have a section of work shirts that are all black and are pretty much all the same shirt. And I literally grab one, put it on, don't even think about it. And then I have a set of 4 different pairs of shorts that I pick a pair of shorts, put it on, I'm good. And they all match and they all are comfy, so it doesn't matter. And I think that that's key. And when you start eliminating decisions, have you heard of decision fatigue?
No, but it makes sense.
So your ability to make decisions, just like your willpower, are finite in terms of the amount of energy you have to give to them each day. So they proved this. You can look this up. They proved this by doing a study on the outcome of verdicts for court cases as the day went on. And what they found is that right before lunch, you had I want to say 50% or more higher potential to be convicted than you were after lunch. So what's happening is the longer you go without, what they found later was the longer you go without glucose, like sugar, like food, carbohydrates, the less energy you have to give towards decisions. So another example would be, well, let me stay on this example. The judge example is good because judges are literally only making decisions all day. That's their job, to make a decision, yes or no, basically, and what level of yes or no. So as you continue to make decisions through the day, that decision bank of energy goes down. This explains why it's so much harder to say no to that beer after work, or say no to that cake after dinner, or to say no to binge eating, or whatever your thing is. It's so much harder to say no because you've already been saying no and you've already been making choices all day. Most of the ones that you weren't aware of, such as the one I just mentioned. What am I going to wear today? People expend an exhaustive amount of energy on choosing what to wear. So they've already used up, let's say, 10, 20% of their energy on decisions for that day, and they haven't even started. So if your job is to make decisions, you have to be aware of this, because when I was a recruiter, I this is where I discovered it. I have to make decisions, and I would have many different meetings on meetings on meetings that I had to make decisions quickly. I didn't have time to sit there and go, is this person good? Is it? No, instant decisions. So to get better at instant decisions, I cut out the decisions that were unnecessary, such as, what do I wear today? So when I worked at another company before this one, we had these shirts that were different colors that said the company name on them. I bought 10 of those, and I had 4 pairs of jeans, and I would just rotate because they all went together and they all worked. And that, again, eliminated the need for a decision in the morning. Same thing with breakfast. I don't think about what I'm going to eat for breakfast because I eat the same thing every day.
Okay, thoughts.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I'm trying to relate this to my own life and see if it applies as heavily. I find that I have two examples that are similar.
Got it.
So last night and part of today, because I got fatigued making so many decisions last night, I didn't make this decision last night, but I decided to act upon it last night. Basically kind of rearranging how I structure the business of Cloudy the Weatherman and the various things that it does and how I can expand upon it and things like that. And kind of I'm reorienting, like, Cloudy the Weatherman is no longer just a business or no longer necessarily a business. It's a part of a larger company. So there was like a whole thing I had to break down, and like it got as specific as like how I'm deciding to orient my Google Drive and like which folders go where and what documents go where and all this. Every single decision, like every single movement is another decision, because it's all me. I'm not responding or, following directions from a boss or anything. Like, I'm choosing.
Yeah. I mean, everything is your choice. So you have to make it. If no one makes it, It doesn't get made.
And I want to make it right. So I'm like giving every little thing thought, right? Still hadn't finished because I got, exhausted doing this. Another example would be stuff like sometimes, like, this, I've told you this, I can't really do too much in a day if something is bothering me as far as making the right spiritual decision in life.
Oh, that's a rough one.
Whether that be like where I place my love or how I'm going about doing a certain thing, if it's morally right or not.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't do anything if I'm not solid with what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's something that has nothing to do with what I want to do, I can't do it I can't do anything until anything is like worked out in my head. And sometimes it's fucked when it requires another person, which is why I'm so hesitant to love somebody, because I have to like, for example, 2 days ago, I just said I love you to my girlfriend. Like, we just started doing it, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
And that's a big thing. You know what I'm saying? So that the next day, I'm in my head about it, running through all types of shit. You know what I mean? And like, I did, but I'm not insecure, thank God. So I didn't have to have that battle. But the battle that I had to have was like, does this person really deserve this from me? What have they shown me? Who are they as a person? And I worked out a lot, but there were unanswered questions that I literally pulled up on her unannounced. We got to talk. You know what I mean?
Really?
Like, yeah.
Okay.
Because I can't operate, bro. Like, I need you to sit down with me right now and talk so I can leave here and do what the fuck I need to do, because otherwise I'm bothered. You know what I'm saying? But luckily she was at home. But yeah, so okay. Those to me are two examples, and it's nicer when those things don't necessarily relate to another person. Usually they don't, because I'm hesitant to love people, and the people that I do love, I'm positive I placed that love in the right place,
Yep.
So just because she's a very new person, I had to like,
yeah, I mean, it's uncertainty. The brain hates uncertainty. It's very scary.
Right. And when the uncertainty is deep and has to do with part of who I am, it bothers me more than like am I gonna make money today? Like,
Yeah.
like that's a thing, but like if I happen to not, then oh shit, well, there's tomorrow. But um,
Well, this person's going to impact you whether you
this is my
want
point.
them to or not. The second you start in allowing someone into your heart to that degree, start loving them as you will. That's like you said, that's making a decision to invest in that person emotionally, spiritually, physically. These are the kinds of
Right.
things that it's not dealing with infinite energy. It's not dealing with something that's doesn't have an impact. It does. And the more you being aware of that, I think is not only puts you ahead of most, but also I think it's a blessing and a curse, right?
Uh-huh.
Because you're
Oh, but
you're aware of it
I tell God this shit. I'm like, why? But thank you. But why? But thank you. But
because you're
fuck.
able to see it. It's the old conundrum of if you gave a like if you gave a being full knowledge, it would end up killing itself because it knew everything, kind of thing. So
Mhm.
I totally understand where you're coming from though, because it's one of those things where you have. That's for me what I found.
Everything right now, I'd be through. I'd be done for. Because like, without the time to process, if it's what I should be doing, if I just knew everything, I'm
Yeah,
out.
no, it's part
But
of life. Is figuring it out. Does it work? Does it not? Do I like it? And I feel like the scars and bruises and emotional trauma in some degree is kind of okay. So that just brought up another thought. Do you believe that? This just got real deep real quick. Do you believe in predetermination? In other words, do you believe that you obviously you have a if you do nothing, nothing happens. If you had but do you believe that there is a predestined outcome? Maybe not a path, but like, do you believe that no matter what you do happens and or that what you're doing has already been predetermined?
I think life is like a maze with multiple paths and multiple entrances to the same exit,
Mm, same.
and most people don't make it to the exit.
Damn. Shit. That was good. That was really good. I like that a lot. Damn.
You only get there if you're acting on what's right for you consistently.
Staying in your stream almost or in your lane.
Like, and you can always, like, depending on how you enter, you can always find your way to the right path and get out. But sometimes you might find yourself in a place where you got to retrace, or like there's various ways in and out. But there's one right path for every person
Okay.
based on your plus your circumstances in life.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think the reason a lot of people don't get out is because you follow the wrong path for so long that either you die trying to retrace or just die on the wrong path.
By either following the wrong path or by following not your path at all. That's a big one.
But like sometimes it might feel good, like it might be
That's
society
so
might reward you
dangerous.
for it. But I'm telling you, like that's what most people are doing, bro.
Well,
It's
yeah.
not everybody. That's what 90% of the people are doing, and I don't blame anybody who does that because society tells you to get money and fuck bitches. So if that's what you're pursuing all day, every day, go ahead till you realize it's not for you. Do that, but it's it's kind of like what I said a minute ago about prioritizing what you do once you did the thing you're still trying to do.
Mm.
It's like people are so caught up 3, 4, 5 steps ahead, trying to just get themselves to that life that they don't break down their way to get there. Because if you actually broke that down and realized what your real next step would be, it might change your trajectory a little bit. But instead, you're just doing anything to get to 5 steps from now. When in reality, like what's more important is what's actually in front of you.
Mm.
So I say all that to say I do agree with freedom of choice, I think everybody had, like, not just fucking abortion. I think we all have a choice in how we move every day
Yeah,
and what
free
we do.
will.
We have free will. Thank you. But at the same time, there is a right and wrong for every individual. There's a right and wrong in life, and there's a right and wrong for you as well. And you have the opportunity to make that choice, the freedom to make that choice. And there's a whole lot of gray area.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a good caveat. There's a lot of gray area there.
could be a little righter than the wronger thing. Like, so I don't think a single human really is like 100% right all the time. Just do your best. But there's really only one best for you.
I heard a quote that as a man, it hit me and hurt, but it also got me fired up. And that was that the definition of hell is meeting the person that you could have been.
Oh. Oh. Ugh.
Yeah. I missed a piece of that quote. It's when you go to heaven, you meet the person you could have been, but whatever. But yeah, so that for me hurt so bad because that idea of meeting the person that I could have been, it made me like shrivel because I knew my potential, or I know my potential, and that thought almost scared me because of the person that I knew I'm able and becoming now. But at that time, the person I knew I could become, that person scared me because they were so good at everything. And at the time, didn't have the self-confidence to feel that. But then as I started working through it, becoming more confident, and this goes back to your point of thinking ahead, it doesn't matter what you think 5 steps ahead is. You just have to go out and do it because there's no way to know what's going to actually happen because it hasn't happened yet. You have to make it happen. And the only way to do that is to go do it. And another point I wanted to make, because it keeps touching on this, is when you go to do things, it doesn't require thought. And let me break that down. Basically, when you grab this drink, you didn't say in your head, grab drink. You just grabbed it. You didn't have to tell your muscles to grab it. Same thing happens when you're in a situation. We as humans love to think about my favorite thing is, man, this is what I would have done in that situation. Like people, they're like, oh, well, I had someone rob my house. And like, you know what I would have done in this situation? Nothing, because you've never been in that situation. So
personally though, that's what me personally.
Oh yeah, me personally though, if it was me in that situation, you know what I would do? It's like, no, I don't care what you would have done because you haven't been in that situation. If you have, you would be telling me what you did, and you would agree with me that what I did was probably what you did. So it's
right.
Yeah, it's really
it's funny though, I use it as a joke because like to tell people like they definitely fucked up in their decision making. Like when you made a shitty ass decision.
I mean, me personally though,
I feel you, bro, but me personally though,
I don't know if I would have made that decision personally. That's just me though. It seems like you have a different path.
Yeah, no, we all humans at the end of the day. But me personally though,
that's some backhanded shit right there. I don't know if I would have done it like that.
Like, I'm glad you did it, bro, but like that though. But no, I get it. It's an interesting thought though, because if you think as far as who you could have been, what you could be, like it's even in the phrasing. Like if you're saying, I'm not who I'm going to be, or I know who I could be, versus I'm not who I could have been. Could have been like instantly makes it so like, oh fuck, I missed my opportunity.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah.
Really, like, I believe in heavily the idea of life is like chess. You know?
Versus checkers, you mean?
I mean, fuck checkers. Like, it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
Like, just as far as chess, like, you have a limited amount of, if you're playing professional chess,
right?
You have a limited amount of time to make the right choice, and then respond based on life's response to your choice. You know, Like you're almost playing. I genuinely believe life is a game, and it pisses people off, especially my father, because he'll like I'll do some dumb shit sometimes because I'm 19,
I
and
mean,
he'll be like,
that.
"You think this shit is a game?" And I'll be like,
Yes.
"Ah."
Do you want the real answer, or do you just want me to say no?
And I can tell immediately. I'm like, "No, I'm sorry. I apologize. No, life is not a game." But I go back into my shit, and I'm like, I just pressed Y when I should have pressed X. Like I don't know why he tripping. But at the end of the day, like you know, um, so I say that to say like who you could be. I feel like is it's relevant, but it's hard to look at it that way because it's almost like imagining playing the perfect chess game,
I see what you're
like not
saying.
making every single move the best it could possibly have been made to take the king as quickly as possible. Like I don't think nobody's born a professional chess player that
Mm-mm.
way. Some people are born with the board set up in their favor. Some people are born with the board not set up in their favor. Some people are born with a perfect lineup and everything in between. That's the same thing as the maze being different for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
right? But all we can really do, in my opinion, is take everything that in our power that we have, whatever we're given, like your cards, play your cards right is another way to say this shit. Take your cards, take your lineup on your board, assess within the time you have, and make the best possible move when you need to make it. If you mess up, okay, learn from how you messed up, right? You might get a piece taken, you might lose something. There's always the chance you could get your pawn to the end and get that piece back. Just keep focusing, you know, and don't be discouraged by the fact that you're losing because you haven't lost chess until you lost your king.
Mm. Wow, that's a really good analogy. It's simple, but it works. Works on many levels, actually.
You know, I believed in that for a long time, but not because he's was wildly famous for a couple months, but Andrew Tate definitely made me think about that again. Um, but that's like his whole big thing. Like the Tate logo is like a knight, but
Oh, okay. See, I
it's like
I avoided that plague at all costs.
I fully understand. Um, let's put it like this: if his message behind the way he used to get famous was great, but he used misogyny and bullshit as far as he used negativity fuels him
Yeah. Well, what
and
color is your Bugatti?
right, which if you analyze it, it's like I appreciate the motivation, but that's retarded. Like that. Excuse my French. Like that's
It is. It is. It's silly. It's stupid because it's what? First off, if
yeah,
I had that much money, what makes you think I'd be buying a Bugatti?
right. Okay, so here's the thing. Here's that's the appropriate response. A lot of people like the bad thing in my opinion about that whole thing, and I don't want to spend too much time talking about this, but the bad thing about one of the bad things about the Tate thing is that there are far too many kids, including my ex's younger brother, who look at him like they haven't lived enough life to take what he says and break it down and apply the good parts.
Yeah. It's
They just
face
apply
value.
everything.
Yeah.
And my ex's little brother is in a house with two older sisters and a mother.
Oh no.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and his only male influence is Andrew Tate on Instagram.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's nothing new though. Look at Dan
No.
Bilzerian. Dan Bilzerian was around before Andrew Tate,
True.
and before
Very true.
that was there's one more. I mean even no, I don't want to throw those. I hate comparing them because I feel like they're similar, but not in terms of the way. It's just in terms of the lifestyle that they live. It's guns, girls, money, like all that stuff. And I feel like it's there's always going to be somebody that fills that void. How they fill it
Yep.
is going to be different. Their message is going to be similar, but the same, but still similar, but kind of different in terms of you can do it. It's motivational, it's materialistic, it's egotistical, and it's misogynistic and super. Yeah, it's just it's hyper patriarchal. It's just it's this weird hoorah, which is great, but join the military. Like you don't need to follow these
There you go.
poker stars on Instagram.
Yeah, it's like that's the best way to put it. You kind of hit the nail on the head. Really, it's hyper everything it doesn't have to be, and minimally what it should be.
Wow. Yes.
You know, but playing devil's advocate, the what it should be is very powerful if you can only use that. Because like, let's take the tape thing for example. The he's playing a character
Right.
that in large part is like based on who he is, but he's playing a character of this like hyper misogynistic, hyper patriarchal, fuck everybody, I'm rich type of guy, right? Everybody's a brokey.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Literally the first video I ever saw of this guy, I had no idea who he was. I just saw him in like driving an Aston Martin, pulls up, shut up, you're broke, and just drives away.
Oh my
Like,
God.
the first thing I ever saw.
Okay.
But went like I thankfully I think for myself. So I looked at that, and the rest of like some of the things he would talk about, like the whole life is a chess game, like that. My he helped me formulate that analogy I just gave you guys, because there were missing pieces in it that he didn't say directly,
Mm-hmm.
but I took from some of the shit he said and was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, you're able
And
to apply it.
You know what I mean? He would argue, never make the wrong move. You're a pussy if you do. All right, bro. Like, whatever. But try your best. You know what I'm saying? His motivation is, I saw a guy in a Lamborghini and I hated myself until I got one. My motivation is, I'm going to love myself enough to own one. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's different. It's different fires burning, or different fires burning the same, like, wood.
Yeah.
But I think what's important is that when any of these guys, if you're or people, regardless, if you're looking at them for advice, you have to know you first, so you know what fuels you. Because if you take what they're using to fuel themselves, it won't work.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it can.
Yeah, the whole thing with like, because that's what really set it apart for me. Because I wasn't like a fan of the guy, but I was like, I appreciate the message. And then I heard him say that what he just said about, or not what he just said, but I heard him say the whole. I was walking to uni. He's from England. I was walking to uni one day, and I saw these Muslim guys driving an Aston Martin Lamborghini G-Wagon, and I was so upset. I went home and I couldn't leave my room until I learned how to make money. And da 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 da.
Yeah.
I'm like, crazy, but okay, I get it. But like,
I'm sure there's some exaggeration going on there, but we get it.
Right. I'm not so concerned with somebody else's what they have. I'm not necessarily like. I'm not fueled by envy or jealousy. You know what I'm saying? That's what that is. That's being fueled, and it's, again, it can work, but it's it's negative, and I don't want to base my fuel off of something negative. So rather than say what you have makes me angry because I'm not you, it's jealousy because he didn't want them not to have it, but makes me angry because I'm not you, and I'm gonna work so I can be like you because I deserve it if you have it. Rather than just like, okay, what do I want? I deserve the best possible version of what I want, and I'm gonna go ahead and get that. But I don't want an Aston Martin because he has one.
Right.
You know what I mean?
How can I apply what he's talking about to my life? Because what you can't apply, this goes for everything. And I think that it's dangerous to apply anyone's whole mindset or anyone's whole perspective on top of yours without first distilling it down to what makes sense for you. If you get advice from a life coach or anyone really, a teacher, a parent, and you don't understand yourself enough to apply it and you just apply it blindly, you're setting yourself up for failure and frustration in most cases, because that person's not you. So what worked for them might not work for you, especially in situations of social interactions or even different types of skill levels. There's so many different variables. You have to really just take what makes sense and then apply it to you. Another example is like sports. If someone, unbelievable. If someone takes, if someone tries to show you how to play a sport, and like basketball, for example, and you have a tight muscle in your right arm, and that's your shooting arm, and the person that's teaching you doesn't have a tight muscle, like you're going to shoot differently. Like you're going to hook to the left or right, depending on what muscle's tight. So them telling you to do this with your finger it's not gonna apply. Like you might get lucky, but the odds are whatever they're telling you is usually hyper specific unless they're a really good teacher. But yeah, I think it just comes down to, like you were saying before, is like for Andrew Tate or any of these people that are giving you perspective, life advice, any advice really, you have to understand the perspective that they're coming from. And I learned this from my business mentor, and I'm so thankful. Don't take advice from people that don't have what you want. And you could even extrapolate that more to don't take the advice that leads to that person's results if you don't want those exact results. Like you were saying, I don't want an Aston Martin, but how can I apply what this person did to get their Aston Martin and get me a Lamborghini or whatever it is?
But then that, like, you got to distill that further, because what if you do want an Aston Martin, but the way they got it is not how you should get it?
Right. So it's more about finding the basics of that. So what was it really that allowed him to live that lifestyle? Was it that he went home and locked himself in his room, or was it that he set a goal, set that goal, and then went through the steps to achieve it? We'll just say that on a basic level is what he did. So if somebody made their money in real estate and they did all this stuff, but you're not in an area that you can do real estate, but you know that it takes being an entrepreneur, you can apply the entrepreneurship mindset and perspective, but you're not necessarily going to apply all the real estate mindset stuff to your business that is life insurance, we'll say. Okay. So yeah, you're absolutely right though. It takes a lot of distillation, but to my point of not taking advice from people that don't have what you want, I find oftentimes that people are taking marriage advice from people who have been divorced, which I don't judge that. I'm just saying it doesn't make sense. People that are giving financial advice when they're broke, and when I say broke, I don't mean that in like you don't have money. I mean that in you're broken financially. You have bad spending habits. I could go on and on and on. Health advice from somebody who eats and lives unhealthy, these types of things. It seems obvious when I'm saying it, but I would question.
I would even further, but finish.
Yeah, I would. If go out and like just look at the things that are in your life that are like that. So being able to see where you got advice from, and then ask yourself, does this person have what I want in this arena? And being able to then take that advice. But again, their advice is not going to work perfectly, but at least them having what you want shows that they've done it, because we live in a world where it's really easy to just be like, look, I did it, but all it is a Photoshop diploma. And it's like,
I agree with you wholeheartedly on that one. And I think you kind of hit the point I was about to say, but as far as, in my opinion, like when you say take advice from people who have what you want is tricky, because what you want should be defined in a perfect world, in an uninfluenced version of you. What you want should be defined by what you love the most and how you want that to come to fruition in this lifetime. And that's going to be different for every person. So for example, if we're going to use more material stuff like an Aston Martin, how can I put this one? Everybody that gives you advice is going to have parts of it that work for you and parts of it that don't. So the key there, before you begin to accept all this advice and go looking for advice, because everybody looks for advice, but don't do that before you know how to apply it, because then it will fuck you over like crazy. because you'll become somebody else. You'll be following somebody else's footsteps. You'll get what they want, and it won't be what you want.
Okay, but would you say that? Why wouldn't you get so? Using that example, why wouldn't you get if you applied everything that they? If you applied what they did to get what they have, and you want that as well, why doesn't that work? Because you said each person has different things, but so are you saying that you should go out and experiment first by yourself to understand?
Yes, to a certain degree. Well, I get okay. Here's what I mean. Say you want to ask them on, this person has to ask them on. You're listening to them because that's what you want,
Yeah.
right? The way that you go about getting it is going to be different than.
Why?
Well, okay, let's put it this way. Because it's going to be you and your choices versus them and their choices.
But they can give you advice on the choices that apply to you. So, for example, if they're a mentor of yours or just a friend or whatever you want to call it, and they have the Aston Martin, and you go to them for advice on what did you do in this situation, not attached to the Aston Martin, they still have the Aston Martin. So they have what you want. So their decisions helped them to get there, so that you know that it's at least possible. But I'm picking up what you're laying down in terms of it not being foolproof to apply it like that. But if you separate the thing that they have and understand that the mindset that they have is what got them that thing, whether it be a lifestyle or what have you, taking that mindset is going to be more successful than if you hadn't gone to someone and you weren't using someone with advice. Because people can tell you how there's a million and one ways to do something wrong, but there's typically a select few ways to do it right. So I think that if we kind of zoom out and look at it like, okay, this person has a successful marriage, this person has they have nice things, and they have a great healthy body, we'll just say. Okay. If I want all three of those things, it makes sense to get advice from that person in those arenas, whether it be related to health, finances, or relationships.
Okay. So I hear you.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, but it won't always apply because we're different people. So it's gonna require that you then take that advice still and distill it down to your life, because it doesn't always apply. But the point being that I was making before is at the top of the funnel, we'll say in business terms, if we're looking at the beginning of a learning experience, if you start with somebody that doesn't have the results, you're going to be in a worse place than if you had gone to somebody who at least had results that you were looking for in that arena. So it's more of like so say what you were going to say though.
Agreed there. Okay, I got this mentality from philosophy class. Or no, I didn't get this mentality from philosophy class, but I applied it most prevalently in my life there first.
Okay.
Philosophy, if you have a great professor, will teach you how to think.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't understand or don't make the effort to apply how you're taught to think to what you are thinking about, it won't make a difference. So I say that to say, if you get advice on something, I would argue following it directly won't be as effective as taking the extra step and saying, are there differences between me and this person that gave me this advice? If so, what are they? Why are they prevalent? And how can I apply what I've learned to my version of what I'm doing versus what they're doing. So in philosophy class, that was like learning. I forget exactly what this was called, but there's like a triangle philosophy of essentially there being of most what we'll call ideas. So like there is love, the thing being loved, and the thing giving the love. Or there's like
You're talking about the ego, the id, and the or whatever.
no, I
No.
don't think so. I don't think so. Or let's see if I remember. It's like trinities. They call it trinities, and it's like there's happiness. There's what makes you happy, and there's
Oh, I got it. Here it is. The cognitive triangle is a relationship of thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. So
Right.
mind, body, and spirit, essentially.
Okay, yeah, great, exactly. Mind, body, spirit is the perfect way to put it. So there's the thing that does. There's happiness, right? There's the thing that makes you happy, and then there's the feeling that that gives you, so to speak.
Okay.
Right? So you have to kind of understand each one because for you, because they're different for everybody. This is kind of my point. So if you say, okay, how are you so happy, mentor? And they tell you, right? They might even understand their trinity and that's what you wanted to hear and da 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 da. But the thing that they did to make them happy and what it makes them feel might be different for you. So you get now, okay, trinity, great, right? But you have to replace the variables with the ones that work for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I'm going for. So when I get advice, I look at it like a good sentence with variables that I have to place in.
Yeah, it's like an ad lib.
Yeah, there you
Like
go.
one of those little word ad libs where you put it in. I need a person. All right, person. I need a place. All right, place. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking more like Migos, but yeah, you're right.
What?
Like how the Migos are famous for fucking like one of them will be rapping, the other one will be like, "Mama."
Yeah. Okay, that was kind of ad libs. Yeah.
I know what you meant. I played those games,
Yeah.
but yes, it's exactly like that. And you know,
Well,
you
those are
just
good
fit.
too. It's just like accents. It's like like filling in the blanks of that sentence. So they give you. I love that you put it like that. They give you the full sentence that gives the result, so to speak, or communicates the message, and then you have to fill in the blanks that make most sense to you because that word might not work for your sentence because
Exactly.
it's not your sentence. So yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up because it's a really important point to make. Is that again, following anything blindly is dangerous, but also taking advice without first dissecting it to something that makes sense for your life and replacing those variables, then you'll end up maybe exactly with what they have, but to your point, it might not be what you want. Like you're gonna end up with a red Austin Martin because they had a red one, but you wanted a black one. And it's like, yeah, you got the
Yeah,
Austin Martin, but it wasn't what you really wanted wholeheartedly because you didn't put yourself in the goal. You like copy and pasted their goal, so you got their result.
there you go.
Yeah, that's a great way to look
More
at it.
often than not, you won't get the results
Yeah, and you'll be frustrated because it worked for them and
because
not for
you're
me.
not doing what's for you. That's kind of my biggest point. Is like doing what's for you is your surest path to what you really want.
Okay, but
But you
here's a question. How do you know? I know my answer, but I want to hear your answer.
know which part.
Like, how do you know what's for you? What's your measure of whether you're in line with what is for you and what's not?
That's a good question. What's for you, in my opinion, is defined by what I might have said this on a previous stream. What you can't stop thinking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the same as what you love. It's like, you know how they'll say, I love this girl, I can't get her out of my mind. It's the same shit. What can't you get out of your mind? At a core level, I know I've said this before. Even if you swear you can't, even if you swear you can, or you swear you don't love yourself, I promise you, you think about yourself more than anything else because you're with yourself the most.
Exactly.
So you do love yourself a little bit, buddy. Okay.
Mhm.
Once you understand maybe it starts with you, and maybe you weren't exposed to anything else, so yourself is the only thing. For me, I was lucky enough to be exposed to music and understand that I'm a creative and yada yada yada, this, that, and the third. Whatever you can't get out of your head is what you love. What you want is typically determined by how you take that thing you love and materialize it.
Wow. Huh. Damn.
So here's my example, like, and this is the broadest example I probably have in my life currently. I have learned through life that I am a creative at heart. That is who I am. What I am is a musician because I love music, because I can't get it out of my head. What I want is to be able to sustain myself and a life that I'd like purely with music and things relating to me creating. Um, on a deeper level, it can just be me creating. Music would be the path I'm currently pursuing.
Mm.
So, in that sense, because I know that's what I want, if I pursued that life I have I don't really have a life in my head, to be honest with you. I just have like a path I'm going on.
Mm-hmm.
But if I pursued this what I think could possibly be the life that I have if I continue down the road that I'm going, not doing what I'm doing now. Like, for example, if I devoted all my time every day to trading stocks,
Mm-hmm.
um, I could probably get there. You probably live a wonderful life. You know, I know I could,
Yeah.
but I don't want that.
Mm.
I don't want it that way. So I am a creative. I am a musician. I am not gonna listen, even if this genius trader has everything in his life that I want. He didn't get it from doing what I want to do to get it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not necessarily going to listen to his advice on how he got there. I might listen to something he has to say about what to do when he's there, bank it in my head somewhere. But as far as getting there, doing what you want to do is more important, in my opinion, than just getting there. It's like the age-old phrase, like the journey is more important than the destination. You know.
Huh.
So I've roundabout answered your question. I think a shorter answer would be what you want. Okay. Say you're hungry. We're going to equate hunger to love.
Okay.
And what you want is the food you're craving at that moment. So if I'm hungry and in that moment I want a burger, cool. Now let's pursue the burger. I'm not going to listen to somebody who wants to go to the sushi place. I want a burger. But vice versa, or not vice versa, but same thing apply. Okay, I am in love with music. What do I want? I want to be a musician. I want to be a paid musician. Okay, great. Now how do I get there? What do I have to do to get there? What is the best possible burger I can get right now?
So, to sum up what you're saying to the question of how do you know what's for you, or how do you know that you're living the life that's for you? Your thought is, or perspective is, that by having an alignment in like mind, body, spirit, and being fulfilled by the journey towards the goal that you want in that moment, then that to you is living and pursuing what's for you.
Yeah, in a nutshell.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that.
I was trying to think of like a simpler. I'm sure there is a simpler way to say it. It's almost like
I mean, you're being fulfilled by the journey. That's the most simple. That's the most simple way you can put it. I think is that you're fulfilled by the journey that you're on in the pursuit of happiness. I mean,
Right.
if
Right.
yeah,
If you're fulfilled by your journey, then you're doing what you want,
like
or
genuinely
you're
fulfilled. Yeah, I
pursuing what you want. If you're fulfilled by that journey, and sometimes you have to do other things to be able to afford to be fulfilled on that journey. You
But
know what
yeah,
I'm
there's always
saying?
going to be the give and take. There's always going to be the grind. There's always
Yeah.
going to be the doing social media as an artist, even though we don't want to. It's stuff
There you go.
in order to get the result, you have to follow certain things, and that's just it's. But like you're saying, is being fulfilled by it, and like for me, I think that's a great example. Social media is a great example. Is like I'm not super excited to post social media all the time. I'm not super excited to film reels all the time. But I'll tell
Right.
you that I enjoy the process of creating similar to you. So that way it's fulfilling, and it's not necessarily the action that is fulfilling, but it's the creative aspect of the action that allows me. Same thing
Yeah.
with like logos and graphic design and photography and videography. Like all that stuff is can be creative if you approach it from that direction. And that's pretty much the fulfillment aspect. So when you, now that I've identified that, pretty much everything I do, I can enjoy fulfill like I can find fulfillment in because I'm able to attach it to my outcome, goal, whatever in the future.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's kind of what I was gonna say. Like, no matter once you understand, like I said at the beginning, even if you don't know if you are a creative, like, okay, I only found out who I was after I knew what I was. I didn't
Hmm.
like, I'm 14, I don't know who I am, but what I am is a musician. I'm making music,
Got it.
right? After years of like living and assessing shit, I come to the conclusion, okay, the reason I even began doing music is because I was gravitated towards things that allowed me to create easily. Music is the quickest way to create something in my experience. I don't draw well.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to that point, just because I love one thing doesn't mean I can't love another, right?
Oh, absolutely. There's so many different kinds of love.
Just because I love music, and this is a battle every human fights every day of their life. Just because I love her doesn't mean I can't love myself. Just because I love music doesn't mean I can't love her. Just because, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very
There's
everything.
varying levels
So,
of love. If you look at, I forget what language it is, but if you look into, there's one language that has like 12 versions of love, and
mhm.
each one is different. So one is the love of things, one is the love of people, one is the love that you feel for friends, and it's all different love, but it's all love. And then another one is the love that you feel for God, and like there's you all of them are love, and they all are powerful because it's love, but it's different love. That's why you can say I love you to your friends and to your wife or whatever, your partner, and to God and to your parents, and mean it to every single one. Like it's not, oh
it's
I
different, but it's also like all comes from the same bank, in my opinion.
right, yeah, I was going to use the chip analogy. Like
Yeah.
it comes back to that of being giving in the sense of, yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Um, I had a thought on this topic. Um, right. If you are making the best chess move for you at any given point, or doing your due diligence to make that chess move, or recovering from a bad one, anything except for not thinking and making the wrong move is loving yourself. And again, if you don't know who you are or even what you are, if you don't know any of that stuff, just treat yourself well. Apply love to you, because that's the one thing you know you love. And once you do that, you might be able to figure out, because okay, here's you might be able to figure out what else you really love and who you
Mm,
really are and what you really want to do. Because once you've kind of built a foundation with a thing out of love, if you want to look at it like business, once you've built a business, you can have arms of that business,
mm.
but you need to build the business first. So
Yeah.
once you love yourself enough to the point where you have the freedom to branch out, you know,
Yep.
do that. It will start. This is kind of why I look at my situation, and like you said earlier, like a gift and a curse. Like the fact that I know who I am right now annoys the fuck out of me because I'm gonna be how do I put this? If we're playing life as chess, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to make this move. I want to put my pawn from here to here because over here looks really fun. But I know that the right move, because I know myself, is here to here. All my friends are over here. All the cool shit is over here. Things over here. If I didn't know what I really wanted, I'd go over there and have a great time. That might be a lot of money over there too. Right now, quickly.
Mm.
But this is where I know I should be for me. So I'm gonna go over here. Lonely, broke. You know what I mean?
That's
But
yeah.
like it's part of knowing who you are, and I can do nothing but be happy with that knowledge. Because I will be more fulfilled in the long run. I am more fulfilled in the long run doing what I know is best for me than just living for nothing, just living to live.
I think you become who you are through living. You have to live life to become who you are. You're still becoming and you're going to continue to change. So learning who you are in the moment is powerful, and being self-aware enough to say like, yes, I'm a musician and I enjoy creativity. It'll help you to really guide your different points of life. And it's crucial. It's crucial to know because you got to know yourself to grow yourself. You're not going to know what applies to you until you've figured out what doesn't apply, until you've gone out there and tried it. So we can theorize all day about what's going to work, what's not going to work, and all that stuff. But until you just go out there and try it, I don't think you're going to ever know. And most people get stuck, like you said in the beginning, is they get stuck 5 steps ahead of themselves.
Mm. Yeah, you're not lying. The difficult part there is also like sometimes trying can fuck you over though.
I mean, so okay, that's you have plenty of time though. I think that's another misconception, is that we have to figure it out by the time we're 21, when
Yeah, yeah,
it's
but also like if we're looking at the Tate mentality, right? Like you'd ideally in a perfect world don't want to make as few wrong moves as possible.
yeah. I mean, you want to conserve resources and all that stuff.
So for example, if
But once you know
um
though, you got to expend all your resources to find out. But once you find out, stop, like not stop looking, but like
yes,
start digging, and then explore once you've already established the foundation. That, and going back to what you're saying, is having that foundation of understanding, like that's how you know what is going to work for you, and how you make that sentence with the other people's sentences, and how your variables work, and how you engage with all these people. But until you can perceive yourself how others perceive you, and until you can perceive yourself and love yourself wholly, and give yourself, and this is what I was going to say when you were talking about this earlier, is give yourself the freedom, like you said, to be the person that you want to be, and pursue the goals that are in line with that. Because when you love yourself, then like you said, you can give love to other people, which will allow you to build networks, which will allow you to grow in your endeavors. And then you're able to be cringy because you don't care. You love
yeah,
yourself, so that literally gives you the freedom to do whatever you want, within reason obviously. But you love yourself, so you're going to go, okay, I don't care that me talking, dancing, being away from other people and isolating myself to pursue my goal, that doesn't bother me anymore, because I love who I am and who I'm becoming. So all that
mm,
other stuff is just a distraction, and it takes away from the main goal. And that, I think, is a huge, I mean, it's a constant battle between staying in that, and this is what my analogy goes to, is staying in your stream, staying in that jet stream, that flowing water, that flowing channel is what is for me. That's the living the life I was meant to live, is finding the channel and then staying in it as best as I can. That way you can navigate to the end of the maze, because you're going to hit different, like, I mean, if we're using the maze thing, now it's full of water, you're going to go through different turns. But at the end of the day, you're following the stream. You're not getting out and trying to go to another maze or trying to go to another stream, because that's not your stream. Like, you're a class 5 rapids person, not a class 3 rapids person. So stop trying to go to the other rapids. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but I could probably talk about this all day, but I do want to check out this track and play it for the people, because I had a chance to listen to it. And it's a banger, man. I really, really like. This is the first track in a long time where I sat back and like got hype on my own. Like, I was like, yo, oh, what? Like, I'm sitting here by myself, like, dude, and I couldn't believe it. Like, I was feeling feels, and I turned it up, and I went back to the beginning, and I was like, yes, like, it was a moment for sure. And then it just kept getting better. And the, like, every piece of it, once it clicked, oh man, it was just like perfection. Literally the board game perfection.
How excited you were about it, and I like that a lot, because like I noticed the the love behind it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it felt like it touched the soul.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny too, because I never really know in the beginning if a track is just going to be another track or if it's going to be something like this. But when you feel it, and it's, nothing else mattered. As soon as I hit that, all I could hear in my head was that song, and like I'd go to sleep listening to it. I'd wake up, and I hadn't heard it since the night before, and I could still keep it going, and that's all I wanted to do. And then after work, I literally sat down and was like, like I had other stuff to do, but I completely just didn't care, because I wanted to finish this so badly. And that's how I knew. I was like, this is special. But yeah, so I'm gonna play it. What I ended up doing with the vocals that you sent me is whatever the settings were. I just doubled everything, and it sounds really good. I don't know, like, what the science is behind that, but yeah, it sounds really good. And you sent me the whole track here, but I silenced it so I could just double up your vocals. But yeah, man. All right, cool. Let's do it. Wait, I'm gonna share the screen with you so you can see it and hear it. Yeah, and then I gotta pull your Facebook up. Boom. There we go. And then that. Yeah.
Without the world against me, I've been molded by the fire, so I stay with that heat. I can never judge a man for being different than me. I know it's hard to be you, that means you gotta be free. Seem like soon as I start studying, they want me to cheat. I don't see that as an option. I know that everybody like to judge the shit I do, but honestly, I don't see the shit I'm doing as the problem. Going third person, there's no one that can stop us. Y'all be having goals, but my goals is goblins. Wildest thing you ever did was some shrooms in college. After me and me, the city girls get real modest. For real. and they want me to cheat. I don't see that as an option. I know that everybody like to judge the shit I do, but honestly, I don't see the shit I'm doing as the problem. Going third person, there's no one that can stop it. Y'all be having goons, but my goons is goblins. Wildest thing you ever did was some shrooms in college. After meeting me, the city girls get real modest, for real.
Man,
God. My goons is goblins, my friend. God damn, that's such a heater.
yeah, it's a banger, man.
I'm excited to see where this one
That was fun for me too, because I haven't done like a boom bap song in a long time. Like, that was really cool. I enjoyed that.
Good, man. I'm glad. I was definitely, I didn't know what to expect, honestly. Like I like that we do this, and I like that the styles change so drastically, because it shows kind of our range as artists, but it also is cool because we get to see different sides of that creativity and art. And for me personally, I can only speak for myself, but it's stretching me and allowing me to adopt new mindsets and try new things, whereas before I would be stuck in my own shell of like dance music, bass music, or hip hop. Like, but working with another artist such as yourself, and it being so different but working, that's the key, is that it works.
That's the dopest feeling.
Man, it's literally the same feeling of when I was making this song, because the song started as two things that were different. It was like a boom bap and a very like aggressive, and then it came together, and that's where that like buzzy bass came from, which all that stuff. Sometimes I get lucky and I can pick the sound to the right time the first time. But this one was a good example of, I picked the wrong sound like 3 times and I had to come back to it. I literally stopped my session, went and did something else and came back, and I was like, I know this isn't it, but I don't know what I'm looking for. And that as a producer is tough, because with the ocean of sounds I could pick and not knowing which one I want, it's like, well, I might as well be like just grasping at straws, but yeah, once I sat down and thought, and I was like, And going back to our conversation when we started this track, is I like to have an idea. And I just was taking myself to a place that was very warm. Well, yeah, California, like on like Venice Beach on a nice like spring day, like that kind of that, like just walking down the boardwalk, like that kind of thing, like just enjoying life in the sun and like sharing wisdom or knowledge, because the song gives me very just like seated in, I mean, it's confidence, it's got that. I heard a thing, and this I'm going off on a tangent here and then I'll come back, but I heard this thing when I was jumping on about the damn it, I lost it. Anyway, but yeah, it was fun. Really, really fun. I really like how that came together, and I'm excited to see.
I remember telling you on the last stream that I've been freestyling more, because it was hard for me to write now that I've been making tracks. I like freestyling, primarily because it just feels or felt as if when I was writing, I'm thinking too much, because I make shit I like off the top of the head. So why am I even thinking about it? Every time I think about it, the wrong shit comes out. Now, what I didn't consider was blindly writing.
No beat?
No. I'll put the beat on.
Okay.
But when I say blindly writing, I kind of mean in the same sense, because when I freestyle, I don't freestyle, I punch in. So I like, as soon as I think of a bar that I actually that is somewhat good, I'll phrase it in a way I really think is cool, and I'll say it. I don't have to like do too much as far as thinking about like coming up with the perfect bar first. I just come up with the idea and then phrase it right. That's what I've started doing as a writer. I made this in 10 minutes. Like, I wrote it in 10 minutes, recorded in another 15.
Yeah.
Because it was, I used that same mentality, and I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but I also knew, especially on this type of beat, I'm going to need to write something, because I don't think I could have pulled a good freestyle out of my ass on this. But
yeah,
in general. Like it's helping. I was with another producer the other night, and we made some shit that's a lot more like to my style. And I'm doing the same thing, and I'm noticing it's coming out good because I'm not stressing over writing. Like the writing doesn't have to be better than what comes off the top of my head or worse.
Okay, yeah.
Like I use the
It
same
just is.
mentality.
It's a tool. It's just
It's like
a
freestyling onto the paper.
huh. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's a really big thing to notice. I think that's what life's all about, man. It's about growing and finding new ways to express yourself as an artist, which is the fun part, right?
How about this? I'll send you something I was recently working on. We play this one more time and we call it.
Yeah, works for me.
Let's see what I got it. Voltilo. Why am I getting so many of these? I get random. Okay, I got a random text. Hi, hello. Who's this? Ash. This is Mia. How are you doing? Wrong number. Sorry. Sorry, I dialed the wrong number. This sucks. Hope it didn't bother you. Can we exchange pictures so we know who we're talking to?
What the fuck?
I'm gonna send them a gif of a lemon.
Oh my god. I'm loading up a track while you're sending that to me.
Okay.
That I actually made the other day. It's an interesting one. It was an experimental thing, but yeah, I was trying new stuff out, but it's a little raw, but I'll go back and fix it later. It's funny too because I tried to make an angry dubstep song and this is what came out. That's why I called it "Hate Has No Place Here" because I couldn't put anything hateful in it. No matter how hard I tried so hard, and the song was like, "No, I'm not doing it."
I like that.
Yeah,
That's good.
it motivated me to be a better person, for what it's worth. Because I'm weird like that. Another fun one.
Oh, it's raw, bro. I like that.
It was a feeling for sure. It made me feel like I was traveling through space and time. But yeah.
You know the thing that like Thor flies up into to wherever he's from, to Asgard.
Yeah.
Like the beam that comes down and breaks everything and just zoom. That's what that felt like.
Nice. That actually is a good way. Yeah. Anywho, but yeah, it's just I've been having a lot of fun just experimenting, but also committing to the time that I know I need to get it done. And it's all about time in the studio. It's not about it's about the value of the time you're spending, but for me it's also more about the consistency of being in the studio, because the more I'm in the studio, the more I'm able to create. So Anywho,
It's a good point.
um,
Yeah, I mean, if you get caught up like I have all the time in the world, then like you probably won't make anything.
yeah.
You know?
Do you send me your track and messages or Discord?
Yeah, I texted it to you.
Okay, got it. Just like me. Shit. Hold on.
Just to prove to y'all I'm not cap.
The lemon. Wrong.
I've definitely been moving towards this sound you're about to hear way more often.
Okay.
I have a feeling this next tape I'm coming out with, which I'm not going to spill the date for yet, is going to be primarily this.
Okay.
But I have a feeling this might be like intro vibes.
Got it. Okay. All right. Let me put this here. I'll play it through. All right. Yeah. And then I gotta jump. I actually have another call in like 20 minutes. Cool. Play. So, alrighty. Let me turn it up a little bit.
Fuck you, high tech. I hate you.
She seen the way I treat myself and made her fall in love. I know how to treat a bitch and how to fuck her up. She seen the way I treat myself and made her fall in love. I know how to treat a bitch and how to fuck her up. Give a dick until she leaning like a double cup. Ain't never been with a king, so girl, I get it. If I give you the world, could you keep it spinning? If I gave you 100, could you make 1,000,000? Whole slimy, whole scaly, they so reptilian. We call money dog shit, cause we stepping in it. She go live and get a donation. Got a reservation at Equal Station. Beverly Hills, minimum wages. Household names doing home invasions. She been broken, but she healing, so she just like me. Baby, you can't spell feelings without the fee. Y'all be giving hoes post-traumatic stress disorder. I cannot relate, my bitches tell me I'm the best thing for 'em. I could show a dime how to make a quarter. God told me turn these hoes wine into water. She seen the way I treat myself and made her fall in love. I know how to treat a bitch and how to fuck her up. Give a dick until she leaning like a double cut. Ain't never been with a king, so girl, I get it. If I give you the world, could you keep it spinning? If I gave you 100, could you make 1,000,000? Whole slimy, whole scaly, they so reptilian. We call money dog shit, cause we stepping in it.
Fuck you, high tech. I hate you.
Real short, real sweet. Yeah.
I like it. That's good. It's you said that this is more the style you're leaning towards. Like
Yeah.
starting to I like it. It's got a it's a good era for sure. That last track that you posted, the one take, reminded me of that for sure as well.
Thank you, son. I have the next song that I'm coming out with, or not the next song. The song's already out, but this next video coming is to a song that's already out called "No More Losses." That's kind of on the same vibe that I was doing a little while ago with the like more singy, kind of a little more airy,
Yeah.
which I still do on occasion. But I find that when I'm in here by myself and I'm not hopping on a song with anybody, if I'm making something for me with no other obligation, it tends to be more like this.
Yep, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
That's another aspect of like collaboration is it forces you to be different because you have to, because you're not the only one putting input.
Yeah, exactly. But you also got to be like you enough to show that you're not leeching off their shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's important too.
Yeah.
Sick, bro. Well, I'm excited for that one. That's another good one.
Yeah. Should we bid our viewers adieu?
Yeah, it's about that time. But yeah, it's been real, y'all. Thanks as always, and we'll get this posted up. I'm kind of curious what we end up hearing on this thing.
I'm very curious. I'm honestly so excited for this, bro.
Yeah, cool. All right, well we'll link soon, and I'll get the flyer out for the next one.
Will do.